This previous weekend, I decided it might be a jolly good time if I were to treat myself to a visit to the local late-night disco dance pub. You see, I had been feeling rather, well, lonely, and my thoughts fancied the idea of meeting that special young lady whom I could spend my evenings with. Perhaps we might even be able to enjoy some amorous nocturnal love bumping together as well. Of course, when these sorts of fanciful daydreams blossom into real-world, practical plans, what comes to fruition is seldom what one initially intends. This case in point, there I was, sitting on the bench on the veranda of one of the upper-level decks of the disco dance pub, getting some fresh air, as well as trying to gain favour with a young lass whom was sipping on a rather expensive mixed drink yours truly had purchased for her just before our mutual exodus into the night air, when all of a sudden, a gentleman wearing a t-shirt which stated, "Fuck you, I just fucked your girlfriend." He accosted the pretty girl and immediately wrapped his sinewy arms around her tiny waist, and within a wink of the eyelash, her tongue was combing the inside of his mouth. Whilst her tongue explored, his hands groped and probed her breast and various other naughty bits. By the time her hand began fumbling across his baggy, hip-hop denim jeans, presumably in search of his trouser Twinkie, I felt myself growing red with discontent. Though I have to admit, as I am talking about it, I'm forced to picture it all over again. And seeing the two of them together does make my little general want to stand at attention. Regardless, at the time I was so infuriated with this young lass, I had no choice but to walk away, and in doing so I neglected to even address her with a declaration of my intention to leave her proximity. I laughed to myself as I thought, that ought to show her. It was at this point of the evening that I found myself back inside the interior aspect of the establishment, perched on a bar stool, ordering drink after drink of the cheapest gut-rot whiskey they carried in stock. By my fifth or so drink, I found my now bloodshot eyes meeting the gaze of a rather large young lady sitting adjacent from me. Politely I smiled at her, as a gesture of merely a friendly acknowledgement of her existence. She enthusiastically returned the gesture, but when she did so I noticed immediately that each of her teeth faced a different direction, as well as each one of them being a different color, ranging from yellow to green to black. Not only that, but I swear on my mother's grave that I saw a bug crawl from her hair and scamper across her face, and then disappear into one of the large gaps between her rotting teeth. I could tell she wanted me. Not because of an overinflated male ego, but because, when she finished smiling, she grabbed her blouse and flashed me her big, floppy, left breast. Her titty was inscribed with a tattoo that said, "I want to fuck you till your dick falls off," which, judging by her teeth and using dental hygiene as a gauge of one's personal health, would be indeed possible if I were to, make her squeal like a floppy-titted elephant. So the two of us arrived at my flat a little after 3 a.m. Once we were in my bedroom, her bra hit the floor like a ton of bricks. Seriously, she had a prosthetic breast in her bra, and it cracked my bedroom floor when it landed. I guess that is why she flashed me the left breast, as the right one was no longer attached to her body. As I tried to block out the next 3 minutes and 23 seconds of my life, I recall my thoughts wandering as to the whereabouts of her right breast. Was it tucked away in a jar, far from the horrible, pride-killing activities I was engaging in? I will never know. I dare not share the details of the rest of that night, as its activities were way too graphic and revolting for even dogs to have witnessed. So instead, let me tell you about the feeling I had the next morning when I found myself sober. The shame I had as I lay there in bed, naked, best reminded me of the time, a few years ago, when I ate that whole, large, jalapeno pizza, completely by myself. I was fine while I was eating it. But the next morning I had to take the most massive dump ever birthed by any man before me. So there I was, sitting on the toilet, straining and sweating, trying my hardest to push out this spicy, 5-layered, deep dish turd from my fragile asshole. I could feel the jalapeno chunks passing through my intestines, searing my bowel, yet with all the effort, not even a turtle head had emerged from my now gaping rectum. Though nothing was passing through my now completely unraveled balloon knot, I could feel pressure building within my corn chute at a geometric rate of intensity. Without warning, the pressure released, unleashing red-hot searing shit and jalapeno seeds from my poor little anus. Flaming hot shit erupted from my asshole as if led by a malice comparable to the hatred behind Satan's pitchfork. When the doo-doo volcano had finally finished erupting from my ass, I found myself reaching a trembling hand towards the roll of toilet paper, when suddenly a bizarre compulsion swept over me, like I had never felt before. With my trousers still around my ankles, and my butt still dripping acidic booty juice, I shuffled from the bathroom to the kitchen, and went to the icebox, and opened the freezer door. It was there I saw in all its glory, the box of chocolate jello pudding pops, that seemed to glow with a celestial light from inside the freezer. Without a second thought, I crammed the pudding pop up my crevice, and let out a practically orgasmic sigh of relief. As I stood there in the kitchen with the rapidly melting pudding pop dripping from my anus, suddenly it dawned on me what I had just done. This realization made me feel as though Bill Cosby was glaring at me, like I was one of the fucking Huxtable kids or some shit. Yes, that is how I felt when I woke up, after fucking that one-titted fat bitch.